10:32 a.m. July 1st, 2011, which means I turned 20 years old today. Only 20. Only 20. Happy birthday to me. I think I just did something illegal. I'm 20. I've been awake for about 10 minutes. I'm going to read a story. It hasn't been published, but feeling good today, Feeling good. It's my birthday. Yeah. This one's called Rapture. It's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not really going to explain anything about it. Other than I basically hate my job, so that's all there really is to it. I just finished writing it like a few weeks ago and haven't really gone back over it since then. So I'm sure some of it will change between now and whenever, but I mean, this is the basic idea. Alright, Rapture. The Rapture was supposed to be yesterday, first at 6 p.m., then at 9 p.m. At 6 p.m., I'd been in the hot kitchen for 7 long hours, cooking for customers at barely over minimum wage. Then 9 p.m. came along, and I was sweating on the customers' plates and meals even still. The Rapture had come all right, and I was in hell. I got off an hour later and saw a movie with a girl. I had been invited to drink, that almost never happens, with some others, but this girl was really something, and by the time the movie ended it was late and I was tired from a long, blistering day in hell. This was the first time in my career as a budding alcoholic that I had chosen to sleep over booze, but I gladly accepted defeat and slapped my pillow with my face after taking her home and returning to my own. I had to be back in hell at 11 a.m. anyway. A few snooze button taps later, I got up at about 10:14, fighting off a little wine I'd had by myself before and after the Rapture, and found myself in hell yet again an hour later. I did very little when I got there. There wasn't much business and there wasn't much soul in me. I wandered around the kitchen, hid in the bathroom stalls, and cooled off the blistering flames from the grill and oven and fryers inside the walk-in freezer while the others applied themselves and cooked the few orders the servers sent back. I was better than them. Maybe this is why I was granted a 2-hour break only an hour into my shift. Apparently hard work pays off. Or maybe seniority has its perks. A whopping 60 cents over minimum wage is one of those perks, I suppose. Once out the clock, I sat in my car and lit up a gas station cigar. I wasn't feeling very good. I'd brought a takeout box from lunch a few days earlier with me to eat, only to find someone had already eaten my steak. I was really looking forward to that goddamn steak. Then there was the boss's daughter. We'd planned to take a trip to Canada in the next few months, but she just backed out after I told her I'd spend a lot of time at the bars. I couldn't do that yet in hearing the good old US of A. It's always the little things. Hell was boiling over. Then there was the fact that I was at work. Why couldn't I just sit in the streets and drink? Why did they demand work from you? I read for a while and sipped at my flask and brooded and thought that if I could do this all the time, sit and smoke and drink and maybe read a bit, if this was work, then maybe I wouldn't mind being in hell. Of course, in this hell, there's the maddening heat and grease everywhere, and the roaches eating whatever they can get their little roach mouths on, and the people. But the people are everywhere, always disturbing you, always making you feel bad about the things that make you feel good. Yeah, this is hell, alright. The boss's daughter came out. I stuck the flask between my seat and the center console. I didn't think she could handle it. She was a square. I opened my door, and she sat down on the sidewalk next to it. Out here being antisocial, she said. Guess so. I'm tired. I was looking for you. I've been right here where I've always been. What are you smoking? Black and mild, filter tip. What's that mean? It's like a cigarette filter instead of the mouthpiece. I like the mouthpiece. I had a black and mild the other day with my friends. My parents don't know. I like the wine kind. I like the regular ones. I'd like some real wine, though. That port shit. Okay, well, I'm going back inside. Bye. I watched her leave. She was a good girl. I'd known her for some years, and I'd always thought she was beautiful, but getting involved with the boss's daughter is never wise, and she just wasn't for me. I needed a drinker, a strong stomach, someone who could stomach me and all that I bring along. She was probably out there, but on the streets, living where life is good, not tied down by rules and bureaucracy, an angel of the alleyways and concrete. I'd find her when I grew the balls to escape this commercial prison. I closed my door and reclined my seat. I turned the key in the ignition enough to listen to the radio. I didn't have AC, so turning the car on would only waste my $4 a gallon gas. I just have to sweat a little longer. I left my iPod at home, another piss off, so I started listening to Little Bukowski on CD. The crowd lashed out, but old Butte gave it right back to them. Don't ask for your money back, 'cause I already got it. I'm carrying my steel, man. Hey, motherfucker, I'll slice your assholes. Goddamn Bukowski. Now there was an artist. Not only an artist, but a showman. Never apologetic, never backing down. With each rebuttal from the poet, I let out a loud, yeah, in support and took another pull from my flask. The crowd loved and hated him and ate away like a blight, while he put them back in their places. He worked so hard at not working hard, and it paid off in a way he didn't even want. Success came, and women and more booze. I could sure use that shit, especially booze. I drained the flask and got out of the oven that was my car, notebook and pen in hand. I went back inside and took a seat by myself in the dark theater. It's a restaurant and a theater. The others were out in the lobby, sitting on their asses, working about as hard as I was earlier that morning. Still no business. I opened my journal and started putting a few lines down on the page. I always had trouble writing, but the drink and the Bukowski had me musing. Of course, the accusations that I was just another Bukowski ripoff would fly around as usual, but I know there's a difference between inspiration and straight larceny, and the ones who constantly made these claims probably just wish that they could write like little old me, but there aren't many who can. Maybe old Butte could. Fuck. Anyway, the words flowed out, and I felt good about it. I got a few pages down and stopped. Something held me back. A block. Don't stop now, I thought. You stop now and you'll never finish it. Work will distract you, women will burden you, sobriety will blind you. Just a few more lines. You haven't laid it down like this in weeks. You can do it, brother. A few more. Life's not so bad if you focus on what's right. Then a bead of sweat rolled down my forehead, and I knew I was still in hell. I closed the notebook and put it in my pocket. I sighed. I started to stand when I saw a crushed roach on the floor, a few of its little roach legs still twitching with some life. As much as I hated them, I felt bad for it. Who knows how long it had been there, barely alive, clinging. Looks like they got you too, little roach. I wiped the sweat away and put the roach out of its misery with the heel of my shoe. The boss's daughter came in the theater. There you are, she said. My dad's looking for you. He wants you to clock back in. It's getting a little busy. All right. I clocked back in. I walked in the kitchen and put my dirty apron from earlier on. There were the others, smiling and joking, unaware that they were killing themselves with every hourly increment of $7.25. I started working slowly, completely aware. I took a sideways glance at the beautiful boss's daughter, a bit envious of her lovely innocence, but never ashamed of what this life had turned me into. I think he's a little inebriated, she whispered to someone. She wasn't so stunning now, but I felt more powerful than ever. Then she screamed. There was another roach. It was having its way with the downed french fry, doing what it was supposed to do, not giving a single fuck about anything else. It scrambled as her foot bounded towards it. She missed it and it got away, happy, unscarred. I smiled. It wasn't hell like the rest of us, but that roach had the right idea. And that is Rapture. So I read that because I'm working on self-publishing a short story collection here pretty soon. I want to have all the stories done by the end of the summer, and then hopefully have the book out by the end of the year. Probably going to be about 20 stories, probably around between 150 and 200 pages. So, yeah. Keep a lookout for that, I guess. Oh, wait, hey, everyone. Have a drink for me. It's my birthday, okay? I can't do it all by myself. I'll do a lot, but can't do it all.